Yeah?
I just thought of a joke.
What?
Like, why do they say that a weakness is an Achilles heel when it should be the golden apples that should be the Achilles heel?
That's a very funny joke, and I hope my microphone can hear it. Hello there, humans, my wonderful humans. My name is Dael Kingsmill, and today I'm bringing you another mythology story. Good old Greek mythology. And what a story today, let me tell you. I am going to be telling you the story of one of the most bamf ladies in all of the ancient world. This is the story of Atalanta the Huntress. Atalanta's father, King Iasus, was, how you say, a moron. Just rocks for brains. Not even rocks. That would be giving him too much credit. King Iasus was so upset that his newborn child came out with a vagina instead of a penis that he left little baby Atalanta out on a hillside to die of exposure. No doodle, no dice. But little baby Atalanta, already a bust from the very beginning, she's already like a little honey badger, a little baby human honey badger. She don't care. She don't need no crappy human father who thinks that kind of stuff's important. No, she gets herself a bear mum. Hell yes. You heard me correctly. A she-bear wandering along through the wilderness came across tiny child Atalanta and decided to raise her herself. At least for the time being, Atalanta was nursed by this she-bear and taught in her she-bear ways until some passing human hunters came by and raised her as, you know, a human. It's a little step down in awesome, but I mean, I guess that's okay. I guess. And once she was old enough to look after herself, Atalanta took herself off to live in a cave as sort of a virgin hermit who was a favorite of Artemis and just so good at hunting stuff. And she continued in this vein of being incurably awesome as she joined the Argonauts on their adventures and took part in the funeral games that King Peleus was holding and defeated the hero Peleus in a wrestling match. Now keep in mind that second one we're talking about Peleus and not Peleus, because that would be silly to suggest that she was fighting Peleus when she was fighting Peleus. So basically, she's just building up a reputation for herself as the most awesome being to ever be, alright? So just keep that in mind for a second while we trot over here and just set up another little part of the story. Many years earlier, a young princeling had been born named Meleagris. And 7 days after his birth, which was the traditional time for him to be named, there was like a fairy tale gathering of beings. Specifically, the three fates turned up to foretell? Is that a word? What the kid's life was going to be like. Clotho, the first of the three fates, the one who spins the thread of life, stepped forward and she said, oh, he's gonna be very handsome indeed. Yes, very nice looking, beautiful face, good kid, good genes you got there, nicely done. The second of the fates, Lachesis, who measures the thread of life, stepped forward and she said, yes, he will be very well liked. He's gonna get along spot on with people. He's got a knack with personalities and will be well liked by everyone that he meets, he will. The third and final of these three fates, Atropos, was the one with the most fearsome reputation, for she was the one who carried the scissors and cut the thread of life when it was time for it to end. Atropos stepped forward, gestured over to the fire that was burning in the corner and said, this child will only live until that log that is still burning in the fire is completely consumed. As soon as that log is burnt up, that baby's dead. But Meleagris' mum is not gonna risk any of that. She leaps up, rushes over to the fire and pulls the log out, puts out the fire as quickly as she can. She spends the rest of her life making sure that that log is safe, locked in a chest, that she's the only one who knows anything about this log and keeps it hidden away so that her child can be safe. And it was working! By the time Atalanta had developed her grand reputation, Meleagris had grown into a fine young man, a fine young cannibal. He's not a cannibal. I take that back. Sometimes that's literal in these stories, so I shouldn't say that unless I mean it. Not a cannibal. No people eating here. It's fine. This thing went down where Meleagris' dad who was the king, was doing the usual post-harvest offerings to the gods, and he maybe forgot to offer anything to Artemis, which is a problem. Artemis didn't take it super well. She basically summoned and set upon the countryside a really huge boar. Just real big pig. He's a big pig, yup, that just kind of killed everything in its path. And so with it terrorizing the neighborhood and beyond, there was nothing they could do but to convene all the heroes in the ancient world to come and have a grand hunt for the Calydonian Boar. And when I say all the heroes, I kinda mean it. Just lots of big names. Jason was there, Theseus and his bro of bros, Perithus. You've got flippin' Telamon and his brother Peleus. Of course, keep in mind that we're talking about Peleus now, not Peleus. Amphiaraus, who would go to fight on as one of the 7 against Thebes. Castor and Pollux. Name after name after name. All the cracks had gathered to the fray, including one Atalanta the Huntress. After 9 days of feasting, all the heroes got prepped, got ready to go out and hunt that boar. Except for a couple of losers who were like, I don't want to go hunting with a girl. There's a girl, she's going hunting with us. Ew. To which Meleagris told them to shut up, because he and Atalanta were like buds, like besties from their ship sailing days. Shut up! It's better than you. What did you ever do? Dael can't even remember your names. I seriously, I can't remember their names without consulting my notes. Not that Atalanta was even paying any attention. She was already off doing her own thing, getting ready to go boar hunting. She doesn't need your permission. Now, through the records that we have available to us, we don't get a really clear picture of what's happening. There is so much going on that it's just kind of one big cluster bad word of events. All happening at once. There are dogs, there are nets, there are people trying to hit the boar and hitting other people, there are hunters getting attacked by the boar. Just everything is happening. But guess what, lamos? What we do know is that Atalanta struck the first blow against the Calydonian Boar. Of course she did. Of course she did. You know, like, what? Who could expect anything else? Amongst all that is happening, no one has been able to get in a hit on this pig except for this huntress. It's not enough to bring it to the ground yet, but it certainly slows it down. Seeing the boar take a hit, Amphiaraus gets a shot in on its eye. It takes out one of its eyes. Meleagris sees this happening and moves in for the kill, but not before Atalanta gets in another shot under the boar's ear. And Meleagris finally takes it down once and for all, killing it with 2 spears to the back and a sword in its side. Everyone cheered and they headed back to the city with the dead boar. The prize, of course, for killing the boar was its hide as a trophy. But Meleagris, even though he had dealt the final blow, knew that this wasn't his victory, it belonged to Atalanta. And so he offered it up freely to her as her trophy to take. But of course, gotta be some random sexist dudes who are gonna just screw things up again, because that's the theme of the story. Meleagris's maternal uncles were soups bitter that if Meleagris wasn't gonna keep the trophy that he'd won for himself, he was gonna give it to some chick? What? Surely it should come to us, because we're his uncles. Yeah, great thinking, guys. They got so angry that Meleagris wasn't giving them the skin of the boar that they attacked Atalanta and tried to take it from her by force. At which point, even though Atalanta could have handled it herself, Meleagris stepped forward and fought them for it, and both of his uncles ended up killed. And then Meleagris's own mother, so distraught at seeing her son cut down both of her brothers, rushes to the log that she had locked away all those years ago and threw the end of the log into the fire, watching it burn and watching her son die right along with it. That's friggin' tragic, man! What? He was such a cool guy! And so that was the tragic ending to the hunt for the Calydonian Boar, but not the ending of Atalanta's own story. After this particular victory against misogyny, Atalanta ended up reconnecting with her birth father. King Isis decides that his daughter needs to settle down and get married. He decides that he needs to enforce this marriage business on her, because he's still a moron. Atalanta doesn't want to get into anything with her dad right now, even though she wins, so she says, yeah, sure, I'll get married, but you know what? I'm only gonna get married to someone who proves that they're worthy by beating me in a foot race. And you know what? Just to raise the stakes, any suitor who wants to marry me has to start running like 200 meters ahead of me. I will start running wearing full armor and armed with a sword. And if I catch up to them, I'm gonna kill them. How's that? It was a pretty clever plan to put off as many suitors as possible, because let's face it, people knew that Atalanta was hella good at all the things and would probably win, and they would probably die. But then of course Hippomenes over here gotta make things all complex, and he prays to Aphrodite for her favor and says, hey, help me win this foot race in the name of love or whatever. And so Aphrodite decides that she will help Hippomenes, and she brings him 3 golden apples and the instructions that as he's running he should drop the golden apples at regular intervals along the path, so that Atalanta would be enticed to stop and collect them, giving him just enough time to escape and not be killed. Magic golden apples, they're more of a problem than you'd ever really expect, aren't they? And it worked, and Atalanta stopped to pick up the apples because they were enchanted or whatever, and Hippomenes survived the race, and so she was forced to marry him. Boo! Boo! Hippomenes, oh, he was real pleased with himself. He was real smug about all of this. But he forgot one thing. He forgot to give thanks to Aphrodite, and Aphrodite would have her revenge! Revenge, I say! I mean, really, in the scheme of things, it's pretty mild revenge. We've seen these people, like, slaughter entire villages, but no, she just decided that she would make Hippomenes and Atalanta want to get it on in a particular cave that happened to be sacred to one of the gods. Specifically, according to some versions, the god would have been Artemis, you know, the virgin huntress who particularly liked Atalanta. Artemis was so mad that she turned the 2 of them into lions. Which ultimately, that's pretty great as far as punishments go. Let's face it, Atalanta would have loved that. That's so up her alley. She probably liked it more than being a human. Humans have stupid conventions she has to follow. Pfft, society cannot cage the spirit of freedom or something. Born free, as free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Thank you. I'll be here all week. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that story. If you did, then remember to hit the thumbs up button down underneath the video, because every little bit counts and it doesn't cost you nothing. You can also share this video on your favorite social media website to show your support for it. That would be Twitter, Facebook, any of those places. If you don't follow me on those places, my links are in the description below. And of course, sharing the video with someone in the real world would be lovely. That makes me so happy. Share the love. Speaking of sharing in the real world, I got a comment from Cal saying that the folks at the Nueva school, Nueva? I'm good with words. That y'all have been watching my videos to learn about Greek mythology, which is just the coolest thing in the world. And they call it the Daily Dose of Dael, which, fun fact, when I was in high school, my friends and I had a running gag about the Daily Dael show, where Daily Dael, that would be me, would make an appearance once a week. So I'm particularly pleased that that's what you refer to it as. So yes, massive shout out to you guys. I'm really happy to hear that you're enjoying it and using it for like learning and stuff. Cha-ching! Ooh, my knuckle just cracked. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel for more videos from me every single week. Every second week is a storytelling video. Apart from that, I do believe that that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma and I will see you some other time. Go! Be free! You can be who you truly are now. Screw that marriage thing that just happened. You're a lion now. Be free. Gonna be a mighty king's enemies beware.